Okay. No.
That's better. Yeah.
Okay. You can see me and everything, right? Okay. Managing teams. Was this about how to do the whole Scrum thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the context of it? So for your team, how big or small or what's going on?
Big team, many iterations,
Okay.
not clear requirements.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I normally do is when I introduce Scrum or anything else, I show this picture because the whole Scrum thing is everything looks very similar to what teams already know, but there's only some subtle differences. Yeah. So I normally use this slide, right? I'll give you like
But
five.
what does it signify? Sorry, the slides. What's been asked and what's been delivered?
No, just when you get a team in a room together to get their attention, I always put one fun slide there at the beginning to teach them. Basically, there's only going to be a very subtle difference. There are things they already do. And this just opens their minds up to the idea. So it's to spot the difference, right? But there's only one difference between the two. Yeah?
Right.
Can you see it? I'll give you 5 seconds.
It's your face covering half of it.
No, it's not in the face part.
Like your face, your circle face, it's covering half the right side of my picture. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But do you see this one blade of grass next to... Can you see it?
Oh, yeah. Half a grey.
Yeah. That's the difference. Yeah.
That's the difference.
My face is in a different part. But yeah, so that's the difference between these. And most people fail to see it, regardless of what my face is. Honestly, no one can see it because they're normally checking their inbox. They're doing anything else. They think, oh, project management, oh, Scrum, I know this. But it's only a very small difference to what they do. And here's a diagram of why I normally select this methodology. Yeah, when you've got a simple program or a complicated program, you can use or get away with waterfall. You really can. Yeah, you decide up front, you write up the specs, everyone just reports when the problem. But when you've got complex or crazy projects, Scrum define crazy, finding the cure to coronavirus. No established best practice, no known tools, known budget, no known process. If you look at the arrows, imagine this is knowns of timelines or previous projects. Ooh. And here is, I don't know, budget or urgency. Yeah. So when you've got massively urgent things and no one knows how to do it, and it's never been done before, that falls into crazy. Yeah, like absolutely. And there is a methodology for that. And that's what I was trying to check at the beginning. There wasn't. In complex, some of the people, some of the tech, kind of urgent, but maybe if there were some delays, it's still acceptable. Yeah, it doesn't need to be done yesterday. So coronavirus up here, most IT projects here, and then bridge building, the materials, how strong they are, what the budget is, how big the gap is. I would put that into simple, and that would be waterfall project management. Yeah. Complicated tends to be if there's a political problem, but I can go through and do ones of those for you as well. Okay. Scrum boils down to this. 3 artifacts or documents or health checks that you need to have. Yeah. 4 roles and a bunch of meetings. That's it. Yeah. So if you can master making a to-do, doing and done visualization, it can be Jira, can be Post-it notes, can be Excel. If you can log when there's blockers, and if you can produce a chart that shows how quickly you're progressing tasks from to-do to done, those are the only written down things a Scrum Master needs to do.
So what's the difference between a burn-up chart and a burn-down chart?
Oh, where you start. So a burn-up chart will start at 0. You've done 0 work, and as you complete work, you will count upwards. And a burn-down chart is at the beginning of the sprint, you've got all these tickets, and as you complete them, you take away from the total. So one you would ideally like to see going down, and the other one going, nothing really is the...
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So knocking things off and adding things what you've done.
Yep. Okay, so 4 roles, ideally. The developers or tech team. The customer, which is unlike waterfall. You, a project manager, a leader, someone that's organizing this framework, and someone that knows what good looks like, the product owner typically, yeah? So if it's an AD project, maybe the AD architect, yeah, or Microsoft themselves. Customer, whoever's asked for the change, that's the biggest impact. Yeah. And you're trying to get the customer and the developers as close together and as often as possible Because if it's not been done before or it's crazy, what you need is really time-boxed, controlled meetings that stick to agenda with the customer and the developers every so often. And the developers are left alone to do something and present it back to the customer. Because if you leave an architect or if you leave a senior person in charge of it, when there's something that's simple that needs to be done, I don't know, stuff needs to move from A to B, these people ask for a plane, to be made, or like the speed of sound to be broken. When a shopping cart or a trolley or a scooty would do, iterative and just pleasing customers enough sometimes. Product owners and architects and even the CEO, they want something amazing. And sometimes customers just want the damn thing to work. Yeah, it's enough. So that's what you're trying to achieve. And then the meetings just help that. How do you make sure what the customer wants done and the developers have enough time to do it happen? Yeah. So the point of the meetings is that they're time boxed and they always have an agenda. And when someone has something that isn't in that agenda, there's another meeting that they should attend and talk about in that meeting. Yeah. Only.
Sorry, meeting.
Oh, I'll go through it in the next one. Yeah. That's only about each of the meetings and each of the things. Good question. Okay. So this is a different way of representing it.
Can you zoom a bit?
I cannot in this view, but I will go through it.
Try on my side once. I'm difficulty reading. Yeah, come.
So this is the one page of it, right? So here are the roles written out. Yeah. So if people get these titles, you just tell them what their job is, right? I'll go through it, but product owners, they manage the inputs and basically the outputs. Does it go through to prod? Here's the idea. This is what the customer wants. They're representing the customer and they're making a list of requirements that come in. The Scrum Master is getting together the development team to ask questions about what does this mean? When does it need to be done? Is this the highest priority? Okay. And then a few of those is worked on at a time. Yeah. And the team is left alone to work on those. If they have questions, there's the space for the developers to ask, but you don't need to know all of the requirements up ahead. You pick a couple of features, you start working on them, improving them, and you show them to the product owner or the customer, which is hidden underneath my bubble, and say, is this good enough? Is this what you meant? If they say, no, this isn't what I meant, you put it back on the backlog and try again. So that's the iterative agile part. And if it is good enough to go, it can just be a screen or a new button or if something shaded different even to make it easier to read for people that are colorblind. It goes through to prod. Yeah. And then you have a meeting with the developers to say, hey, how did it go? Did you have enough time to ask questions? Were the meetings clear enough? Did you value the customer's feedback? So the Scrum Master is always just trying to improve the meetings. The developers are just trying to find out what is the next set of things that need to be developed. And the product owner is just trying to establish, is this good enough to be released and does it make the customer happy? Yeah. Many people don't like all of this on one page because it's too much. They like this kind of square view. Yeah. Now, this really, you can modify the time slightly. I found this work, but this really is that same diagram just to look a little bit more corporate. Yeah. So the first step on that thing was the backlog. So you have a backlog meeting. You can literally copy and paste this white text. Yeah. And that's the agenda. Yeah. The product owner writes down what at highest level the customer wants and what the acceptance criteria are. We want a login screen and the passwords need to be minimum of 8 characters. Yeah. And they just keep on making a list of these things. And then what happens? The next meeting, a bunch of these requirements, the development team have a short period of time to ask questions. They go, what the hell is this ticket? It says login. What does that mean? Yeah. And you literally copy and paste this, into the meeting. And if someone says, oh, I want to talk about testing strategies, or I want to talk about this GUI that I made, you go, there will be a meeting for that. Just later, it will be called, and I'll tell you what it will be called. This is the what meeting. In this meeting, the product owner picks something from the backlog and tells us what the name of the ticket is, and we ask what it is. Yeah. When that meeting comes to an end, you can take a small break or you can do it the next day, but I wouldn't say any longer than that. You have how meeting. Again, organized by the Scrum Master. Product owner's there to answer the questions. And the dev team go, okay, so I've got this login thing. How do you want to implement it? Do you want a pass key? Do you want the password complexity? Do you want us to check these things? And the product owner has to think, is that actually how I want this solved? Yes or no? Yeah. Because the development team are trying to think, okay, are we going to authenticate against it? Is it system? Is it this? And they ask questions. They've got a title of a ticket, but they don't know anything underneath. And this is their chance to say, okay, you don't know and we don't know, but we need a little bit more information. Yeah. So once you've gone through 4 or 5 of those items and all the ones that have had a how and what meeting, now you go into the daily stand-ups, or like I like to call refinement meetings. The dev team say what they've done or what they're blocked on. If they're blocked and it's because they don't understand the requirements, they say, I'm blocked on this. The Scrum Master or the manager says, okay, why don't we take this offline and you can follow up and find out with the product owner or the customer or another developer more detail. But they are not to discuss it in the stand-up. In the stand-up, they just say what they did, where they're stuck, and what they're moving to next. Yeah? Everything else is done offline. So it keeps a nice momentum in the stand-up call. It also lets you know who's struggling, and it lets other people know that person needs help. So it's there. So one of the other developers or someone else says, oh, hey, why don't I know a bit about that? I worked on that last year. Why don't we talk? And you go, yep, if you take that offline, that's great. Next person, next person, next person. Yeah. So the agenda of that is done. You finish something, you're doing something. And I've used the term done as in it's crap and I can't actually progress with it. You don't have to use done. Okay. Every day, 15 minutes, everyone comes. The product owner is optional. There's nothing for that because this isn't a clarification meeting. This is just, is this done? Is it not done? You're trying to update your project artifacts. And to make the Burndown chart, you don't need to know that the tickets were written badly. You don't need to know it's impossible. All you need to know is what tickets were completed so that you can make that burn up or burn down chart. Yeah. So you can cross off that ticket. Yeah. Now, depending on how long your sprint is, so 2 weeks or 4 weeks, you can then invite the customer and the product manager in, and you present things that work. Ideally visually. It's not a PowerPoint exercise. It's not a chance to look at log files or demos. It's the customer. It's the end. Yeah. So items that are completed get presented to the customer. Yeah. And then the customer and product owner either say yay, nay, you get some feedback.
Yep.
And then you do the retro. So the retro is really important. I wouldn't skip it. You go to the developers and say, hey, how did you find, and you go back through the meetings. How did you find the how meeting? Oh, we didn't get enough time with the product manager. Okay. How did you find the what meeting? Oh, do you know what? We spent too much time on one ticket and we missed out getting lots of the details in the other ones. And then it was hard to get people's time. We should maybe only spend 5 minutes on each ticket. Okay. And you take those feedback things, if you can, and you put them in as Jira tasks or tasks for the next sprint. Yeah. And so then you know that you're improving the process and it's being closed down as well. Yeah. It's a nice way to do it. You don't have to give it story points. You don't have to track it for Burndown, but then at least the developers feel like they're heard. They have a place to complain and they can see where improvements are being made. Yeah. Then what do? You go back to the backlog and say, okay, we just did that piece of work. I have new requirements come in. Which one's the new priority? And then you repeat that cycle again. So the backlog refinement is again to look at the pipeline of work that you didn't work on and say, should one of these come in? And should some of the stuff that we were working on 2 weeks or 4 weeks ago go out of the sprint backlog?
Yeah.
Bang. And those are just variations of it. Okay.
So the meeting that, since offline discussions, if there are unknowns or clients required,
Yes.
the specific developers was asked a query to the product owner. Okay.
So ideally they ask as much as
the ceremonies that as a Scrum Master that we run, it's outside that ceremony.
So yeah, they had the chance to ask in the what and the how meeting. Yeah.
All right.
If they still don't get it, then, and it's their ticket, they talk to the product owner or they say it's impossible and it gets thrown out. Well, it's just acknowledged that ticket won't be worked on. Yeah. So if they're unable to resolve whatever question they have in the Scrum, then yeah, that's basically what happens.
Okay.
So This diagram breaks it down in the other way. Oh, I can zoom in like this. I'm not doing full screen, yeah? And I put it in like a retro, or the retrospective reflection on the meeting to identify what worked well and what needs improvement with the scrum, with the meetings, yeah?
The meetings, not with
No, not with the product, not with
not the
people,
products,
not
with the product.
with the product manager, not with the air conditioning, not with someone's chair, but from these events. And you go through one by one. You say, okay, let's put a positive thing down about the what meeting. Generally, it's that it was stuck to time. You can give them examples. So the 3 or 4 examples for any of these meetings are, did it take place? Did it stick to the time box or the meeting time? Yeah.
Yeah.
And did we talk about the thing, the agenda in that meeting? Yeah. So in the what meeting, did we talk about what the tickets were? And they go, yeah, that sounds like a success for a what meeting. Yeah. What about the how meeting? Did we have the how meeting? Did you have a chance to ask how we'll do this or how the customers will interact with this? No, we should have asked, okay, so what improvements would you like? Actually, maybe I'd like some more notes or a demo or something else. Ooh, demo. Let's hold on to that feedback until we get to the demo. Okay. Did the demo happen? Did a customer show up? Did we demo something? Okay. Would you have liked if we demoed some other products that we're dependent on in the demo meeting? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a demo there. And then this meeting itself, are we having a retro? Yes. Are we sticking to the agenda of only talking about the Scrum ceremonies in the retro? Yes. Did we go over time? Okay. And then, as I say, in the middle, to produce these Burndown and whatever graphs, and I can map it out in Jira, if you're using a Kanban board or if you're using a Scrum board, it will automatically generate these for you. You can make them in Excel. You can move it from one cell to another and write a maths formula.
The Scrum and the Kanban, is it preference of the person doing it, or is there a specific criteria each one of them meet, and depending on the criteria, you pick one?
I do have criteria. So if it goes from complex to crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy is a help desk. There is no N, there is no customer, there is no such thing as success. You're just killing tickets. Kanban is going from left to right. It doesn't care about anything else but how much capacity you have. And that's it. You don't need a refinement meeting for a help desk. Tickets come in, tickets get closed. You don't need a demo either. You just close tickets. So that's in your crazy category. It'd have been the same for coronavirus. You don't need the customer to come and tell you that there's a global pandemic. It's stuff just coming in. Yeah, it's firefighting. Complex is where you need better backwards and forwards. And as you said at the beginning, the customer or the team aren't clear on what needs to be done. So you need to get the tech team and the customer closer in a working relationship where they ask questions, they go away and they work on something uninterrupted and come back and present. Not the whole thing, but just a small iteration on it. And they say, will this do it? Is this enough? And the customer says, yes. Okay, that's a good way to do complex. Way down here in simple, do I want to put house into simple? Would I use a bridge? Going shopping in a month from now, you know the date, you know the time, you probably know the budget. You could do a mock run. You could go to another supermarket and see if they've got the things. There's not many unknowns, yeah? You can use waterfall there. Nothing wrong with that. Complicated is the tough part, yeah? And in complicated, there's I didn't do it in this one, but I can make another one for you where I'd go over all the complicated stuff, basically.
Difference between the boards, Kanban board and Scrum board. The one you're showing me, Scrum board, what does Kanban board have that Kanban doesn't or has less of compared to Scrum?
In Kanban, production line or things that aren't projects. Let's just think of like a
Production line.
A production line, yeah? You have stuff in 3 or 4 columns, to do, doing, and done. So that is the same between both of the methodologies, yes? But in a production line, you care about throughput, work in progress, how many items can you work on at the same time, if there's any backlogs, and improving that, yes? So the metrics that you'll be working with are like uptime, how many people you have, how many tasks per person, who closes down the tickets.
Throughput.
Yeah,
More the highest.
Yes, yes, yes.
Like a service desk.
Yeah, and the way that Kanban changes it, besides trying to do no wastage or optimizing uptime or optimizing your staff, beyond that, they try to go from push to pull. What does that mean? Yeah. Most teams, when you have 3 columns, I should probably navigate to somewhere else. Here, let me just make a quick one up for you. Draw, white board. Excel board, is that it? Excel. Okay, that will do. Let's just back quickly. Can you still see my screen?
I can, yeah.
Okay, fine. 6, perfect. Let's pick some garish colors. Witting.
For 9 minutes, yeah.
Boom. Okay, here. Okay, so typically, get number 8 there. Change color to blues, nice. T, D. Let's just do here, 8 again, 8. Develop. And let's just do test and done, yeah? And deployed or something like that. Test.
Okay.
And then last one here. Okay, and we'll actually name it done. Done. Change that. Okay. So you're going to get tickets that go from here. They go here, then go. Let's just do some more tickets. They're realistic. Copy paste. Does copy work? Paste work on this. Copy paste. Okay. Copy. Yeah. Paste. Not intersecting. Okay. So here are your Jira tickets or whatever else visualized on the board somewhere.
Yep.
At the end of 1 week, I don't know, it looks a bit like this because you're working on a big thing. What happens in this, so forget Scrum, forget everything else, it's just a to-do list. And you've got a load of stuff to do. It's not moving. There's a bit of in development and nothing going to production. Yeah? Everyone thinks there's a problem here. Yeah. Kanban tries to change that. So what Kanban does says, okay, once you start seeing work in progress limit, yeah, let's say your team can't cope with 2 or 3 different deliverables at the same time. So you say, no, we've only got 1 developer, we've got 10 testers and 10 production release staff. Why don't we get some testers to help the developers? And only if we've noticed that the development team can't cope or finish well to a good quality 3 tasks at the same time, let's get them to only have 1 thing to concentrate on and ask the testers to help do documentation or unit testing earlier. Okay. Then you start seeing problems still that once the dev bottleneck's gone, something like this happens. Yeah, the development team's great. They can only take on 1 task at a time.
Yeah.
The test team's being stretched. Now it looks like the test team's bad. The magic solution here is another line was 6. I do this in big tech interviews as well. Here you have dev start and dev complete. Why do you have dev start and dev complete? Because development actually sometimes when they finish, they don't tell the testers. This means the developer goes, this is dev complete. Yeah, I'm going to start on another development task. And the testers, let me get rid of this. They don't have to talk to the developers to find out what's happening. They pull tasks based on their capacity.
Right.
So instead of development saying, here's a task, you have to take it into your column. I finished it.
Okay. So not necessarily wait for that sprint to begin in some
No
cases.
sprints. No sprints in Kanban.
No sprints.
Continuous.
It's just a Kanban thing where you pick up the tickets based on the capacity and availability.
Yes.
and then you group them, as you say, development,
In development, dev complete. Yeah.
test in progress complete, and then the ticket just keeps on moving. Okay, I see. So there's no such thing as sprints.
No, you don't have to do sprints. I can combine the both, but the nice thing about this is before development would have, dev would say, here you go, test team. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. It would distract them. They haven't finished testing the last thing. Whether you call it context switching or interrupting them or having meetings or telling them all this detail about the next ticket when they haven't finished the last one, right? It was really counterproductive. So what this does, it allows the development team not to be at blame, because when you just have one column, it says dev team, it looks bad. The ticket's just sitting there. Yeah. The work in progress limits let you see where there's natural blocks in your production line or pipes or speed, and say, okay, we tend to see lots of problems if we get more than 10 tickets in this area. Let's say that in the tool, you can do it in Jira or you can do it in Asana. You're unable to move more than 3 tickets into this column. It's physically impossible. There can't be 3 tickets with the status in progress or dev progress. And it's all on this idea that, one. That's not one work. That's arrow 5. My bad. All on the idea that instead of push, that it goes to pull. You pull the tickets. When you have capacity, you take something. Yeah?
Gotcha.
So that's the biggest difference that I can think of with Kanban and things. There's huge books about the topic, but that's probably